about how and why the ARM Cortex M3 processor or controller, I told both the names will be interchangeably used, how it became popular. Okay, how and why. Okay, so because of these reasons that we discussed: greater performance, lower power consumption, enhanced determinism, improved code density, ease of use, lower cost solutions, and wide choice of development tools. So because of these reasons, ARM Cortex M3 processor became very popular over other 8-bit and 16-bit microcontroller or processors which are already available in the market. Okay. So now we shall discuss about brief history of ARM. Okay, so what is the full form of ARM? So ARM stands for Advanced RISC Machines. Okay, so you can see here, Advanced RISC Machines, and it was started in 1990, way back in 1990. Okay, I have posted a link to YouTube video in your group 6th B. Okay, so please go through it. So it is about ARM. So when it started, how the ARM became popular, and where the industry is now. Okay, so everything is explained in that. So the 30 years of ARM. So today morning I placed that link in your. So I forward the link to your group. Okay. So first thing we'll talk about is full form of ARM. So ARM stands for Advanced RISC Machines. Okay, Advanced RISC Machines. It was founded in 1990, which it was a joint venture. It was a joint venture of Apple Computers. So you are already familiar with Apple Computers, right? So and then Acorn Computer and VLSI Technology. So these three companies started ARM. Okay. So before going to further details, I'll share you the screenshot of my mobile phone. Okay. To tell you that we are already using ARM in our day-to-day lives. Okay. So this is a screenshot of my mobile phone. Okay. So how I got this information is, see, there is an application known as AIDA64. Okay, so you can download this in your Play Store, Google Play Store. So AIDA64, install it. Okay, it is around 10 MB or 12 MB. Install it and then open it. So you will get the information like this. See here, first you will get the information about system. So what is the device name? Okay, model, manufacturer. Okay, and then how much RAM is available, and how much RAM is primary memory. Then how much storage memory, that is ROM, secondary memory is available. Okay, so out of which how much is free, so what is the Bluetooth version, and the device features. Okay, so this is about system. See, why I'm showing this is, this ARM processor or controller, this is not new to us. We are already using it without knowing it. That's all. Okay, so now I'll go to the next information about same mobile phone, about my mobile phone. That is CPU information. Okay, CPU. So what is the SoC? So SoC stands for, the SoC stands for system on chip. Okay, it is system on chip. So SoC model. So in my mobile phone, it is Qualcomm 855 Plus. Okay, Snapdragon. Then architecture. So it is a octa-core SoC. So out of octa-core, so you can see four cores are of type 485. Okay, then 3 cores. Okay, out of 8 cores, 4 cores are of type 485, which are clocked at. So this is the maximum clock frequency of these 4 cores. Then 3 other cores are clocked at 2419 megahertz of same 485, and one core is again 485. It is clocked at 2956 megahertz. Okay, so totally 8 cores are there available. So usually it is octa-core nowadays. Okay, previously means in early devices, in let's say 4 to 5 years back, it was dual core. Then came quad core. Nowadays it is almost octa-core only. Okay, so next, manufacturing process is 7 nanometers. Okay, so you already studied VLSI in your 5th semester, and you know what do you mean by 7 nanometer process. Okay, and now the important thing that I want to show is here, instruction set. Okay, instruction set 64-bit. Okay, here 64-bit ARM V8. Okay, so ARM architecture 8 version 8. This is ARM version 8. This is what it means. Okay, so already we are using this. Already we are using ARM processors without knowing. That's all. Okay, so already, so in every mobile phone you can install this application AI. So whatever the application I told, AIDA64, and you can check whatever your SoC and what is the ARM device that you are having on your mobile phone. So here it is ARM version 8. So version 8 means it is architecture name. Okay, it is not device name, it is the architecture name. So ARM version 8 architecture, and it is of type A profile. Okay, so this A stands for application profile. We shall study about what do you mean by application later. Application profile. Okay, so totally there are three profiles that we'll talk about later. One is A, which stands for application. One more is R, which stands for real time, and one more is for microcontroller application M. Okay, so totally there are three profiles. We shall see about this later. For timing, just see that it is we are already using ARM. Okay, in your mobile phone, and you can see supported APIs. So it supports ARM 64 version 8, that is architecture 8, as well as version 7, that is architecture 7. So both supports are available in this particular processor. So if you write the code for architecture version 7, it will also work in ARM 64-bit architecture version 8 also. That is what you mean with support. Okay, it supports both architecture version 7 as well as 8. Okay, so and there is a cache of 2 MB. Okay, and you can see individual clock, totally 8 cores, right? I told octa cores, totally 8 cores. So out of 8 cores, what is the current operating frequency of the cores? So here, these 4 cores are at 576 megahertz. So remaining these three are at 710, and the last core is at 825 megahertz. This is the present operating frequency. Okay, so please install this application and check this. See, there are n number of such applications. You can install anyone, but try this AIDA64 from your Play Store. Okay, so like this, you will also get other information like information regarding the display. Okay, so how many pixels per inch are there in your mobile display? So what is the size of your display, then refresh rate. Okay, so everything you will get. Okay, so again, you will also get the information regarding the battery of your mobile phone also. Okay, so what is the temperature of your battery, voltage. Okay, so charge counter, right? So total capacity. So these all details you will get in this same application, AIDA60. So why I am showing this is, I'm showing you this to tell that ARM devices are not new. Okay, we are already using them without knowing them. That's all. Okay, so like this, there are many other applications that we are using already in our day-to-day life. Okay, which employ ARM processor. Okay. Yeah. So now we'll come back. So it was founded in 1990 by Apple Computer, Acorn Computer Group, and VLSI Technology. And then in 1991, ARM introduced ARM6 family processor family. Okay, ARM6. See, ARM6 means it is the device name. Okay, device family, device name. Okay, and VLSI became the initial licensee. Subsequently, additional companies including Texas Instruments, then NEC, Sharp, and ST Microelectronics licensed the ARM processor designs, extended the applications of ARM processor into, you can see, mobile phones, computer hard disks, personal digital assistants, which are known as PDAs, home entertainment systems, and many other consumer products. So you can see various applications of ARM. See, here it is clearly mentioned VLSI became its initial licensee, and subsequently additional companies like TI, Texas, Sharp, ST Electronics licensed the ARM processor design. So what they did, they licensed the ARM processor designs. Okay, what do you mean by licensed means? See, it is just like taking a franchise. Okay, it is like taking a franchisee. So can anyone tell me what do you mean by a franchise? Franchisee? Can anyone tell me what do you mean by franchisee or a franchise? See, have you heard about Domino's, KFC? Yes, Domino's, KFC, Pizza Hut. See, all these are franchisee names. Okay. Yeah, you already know that in Davangere, so there is a KFC as well as Domino's. Correct? See, it doesn't mean that the KFC people are only running KFC in Davangere. No, they are not running KFC in Davangere. See, some person, let's say X, some person X has licensed this KFC. Okay, he has licensed this KFC means he has taken the permission from KFC. Okay, so that he can start that KFC in Davangere. Okay, so by taking the license, he has started the KFC in Davangere. So that means he has purchased the franchise. Okay, for KFC, and he is running that that franchise in Davangere. KFC is nowhere involved directly in operating this franchisee of KFC in Davangere. KFC company is not directly involved. No, some person X is actually running this. Okay, but he is paying some amount of loyalty to this company KFC. Why? Because he is using his this KFC's name to run the his particular establishment. Getting what I'm saying? This is what you mean by license. Okay, license. So X has licensed or he has taken permission from KFC to run his franchise with the name KFC in Davangere. Okay, so this company KFC is not directly involved in running the company in Davangere. So same concept here also. Okay, same concept. See, ARM, that is advanced risk machines, they do not manufacture processors. Remember this. Okay, ARM never manufactures processors or controllers. Okay, it only gives the license. Okay, it gives the license to other companies like, so what are the companies? Texas Instruments, Sharp, okay, Motorola, NXP, ST Microelectronics, like that. It will give the license to these companies. Okay, and once these companies obtain the license, okay, let's say NXP, it's a chip manufacturing company. It has taken the license from ARM. So license means ARM provides the design. Every detail of the processor design, ARM gives that design to NXP. Okay, so using that design, NXP manufactures the processor. So actually, NXP manufactures the processor, not ARM. ARM only gives the license. License in the sense it will give the soft copy. You can visualize it like ARM gives the soft copy. That is the license to NXP. So NXP using that soft copy, it will make the hard copy of the processor. The hard copy of the processor means it will manufacture the processor. Okay. So since ARM has lended his license or the design to NXP to manufacture, so NXP has to pay some amount of loyalty to ARM. Okay. NXP has to pay some amount of loyalty to ARM because NXP has not developed the processor. It has only obtained the license from ARM, the designs from ARM, so that it can manufacture. So since it has obtained the design from other company, which is ARM, so he has to pay some amount to ARM. So this is what is ARM doing. Okay, ARM never manufactures processor or controller. Remember this. Okay, if anyone asks, you should be able to explain this. Okay, for any layman. So you should convince him that ARM never manufactures processors. It only gives licenses. Okay. Yeah. So now you can see here a brief diagram is there. So what are all developed by ARM? Here, developed by ARM. It is indicated. So the core of M3 Cortex. Okay, Cortex M3. The core and the debug system. So debug system, I told in the first class itself. Debug system is used to test the design. Okay, if something goes wrong, if something is not working properly, okay, so you have to check what is wrong. So how will you check? Using the debug system. This debug system provides the internal values of this Cortex core. By seeing those values, the programmer will come to know something has gone wrong and where it has gone wrong, so that he can correct it. That is what is the use of debug system. So developed by ARM. So ARM only develops Cortex M3 core and the debug system. Okay. So develop means they will develop the soft copy. To visualize, remember that they will develop the soft copy. Okay. So it is just like if you want to build a house, you will go to an engineer. So the engineer will give you a plan. Okay. So that plan that he will give, it will be in terms of a hard copy. Sorry, no, it will be in terms of soft copy. So where the hall will be there, where the kitchen will be there, where the parking area is there, like that. Okay, the dimensions and all. So that is the soft copy. So that part is taken care by ARM. Only that part. Okay. So now you can see what about the remaining part. Then what about the bus? What about the peripherals? What about the memory, the clock and reset, the whatever the IO device? See, they are developed by the chip manufacturers. Okay, so some other chip manufacturers. So remember, if you take the example of your mobile phone itself, suppose your mobile phone, you are using a, let's say, Vivo mobile phone. Okay, Vivo or Oppo mobile phone. See, that doesn't mean that if the branding is Vivo, that doesn't mean that whatever the components that are there inside your mobile phone has been manufactured by Vivo only. No, Vivo will not manufacture all the components in your mobile phone. No. So what the Vivo will do is they will just assemble the components. That is the concept. Okay. So they will get the processor from Snapdragon. Okay. Qualcomm company. They will just get the processor from there. They'll get the memory from some other company which is good at manufacturing memories. Okay. They'll get the clock and reset circuits from some other company which are good at that particular design. Okay. So all they will get the LCD screen from someone else, and you know that the cameras are from Sony. Okay, Sony IMX sensor, they will advertise, right? So they will take the camera from some other company. So they will just assemble and they will write a software that will assemble, that will operate all these components efficient. That's all. That is what Vivo will do. They will just assemble. Okay, they will not manufacture everything. That is what will happen in ARM also. Okay, so only these two, Cortex core and debug system, are developed by ARM, and that too only soft copy. Okay, so remaining peripherals, bus, and everything, they will be designed by the chip manufacturers according to their requirements, according to their applications. Okay, if it is a mobile phone, the memory can be more. Okay, if it is a toy, if it is an electronic toy, then the memory requirement may be less. So accordingly, that chip manufacturer will decide and design whatever the remaining is required. Okay, and then once this chip manufacturer obtains the license from ARM, okay, that is obtains this soft copy of the processor design from ARM by paying some amount. So they will get the license and they will develop the entire chip. Okay, so who will develop that? As I told, it can be NXP Semiconductors, it can be ST Microelectronics, okay, or it can be Texas Instruments, or it can be Motorola. Okay, so these will develop the entire chip by taking the permission from ARM. Okay, so that is what I told. ARM will never manufacture processors. They will only give the license. Remember this. Okay, so this is Cortex M3 processor. Okay, yeah. So nowadays ARM partnership in excess of 2 billion ARM microprocessors. So see, 1 billion means it is 100 crores. So 2 billion means it is 200 crores. So just imagine how many ARM processors are manufactured each year. 200 crores of ARM processors are being manufactured every year. And they will be manufactured by ARM partners. Not by ARM, but ARM partners. So which are the partners? As I told, NXP, Motorola, and then Philips, okay, Texas Instruments, like that, right? So unlike many semiconductor companies, ARM does not manufacture microprocessors or sell the chips directly. That is what I told you. Instead, ARM licenses the processor. That's all. Processor designs to business partners, including a majority of world-leading semiconductor companies. Okay, so based on ARM low-cost and power-efficient processor designs, these partners create their processors, microcontrollers, and SoCs, system on chips. Okay, so this particular business model is known as intellectual property licensing, or IP, licensing. You might have heard about IP, right? Intellectual property. So once ARM designs a processor, they will take the patent for that. Okay, they will patent it. So once they patent it, so to use that technology, patented technology, you have to pay some amount of money to that company. Then only they will lend their design to you people. Okay, whoever is manufacturing the chip or processor. Next, we'll move on to the architecture versions. So in the snapshot I showed you, so there the architecture version is version 8, V8 and it, right? So I'll go back if you want. See, so ARM64 version 8A. Okay, so ARM64 means it is a 64-bit processor. Okay, it is a 64-bit processor, and version 8 it is the architecture version. Version 8, so it belongs to architecture version 8. That is what is the meaning of it. Okay, so architecture version. So we shall see what are the architecture versions. So over the years, ARM has continued to develop new processors and system blocks. These include popular ARM7 TDMI. So this was a very popular processor and still is a popular processor in many simple applications. So ARM7 TDMI processor, and more recently, so ARM1176. So these are the processor names. Okay, this is name of a processor, ARM7 name, TDMI. So this is also a name. Okay, so which is used in high-end applications such as smartphones. Okay, so it was popular, let's say 5 to 8 years back. Not now. Now Cortex series are popular. Okay, so the evolution of features and enhancements of processors over time has led to successive versions of ARM architecture. Obviously, okay. See, suppose you start with version 1, architecture version 1. Let's say after 2 years, you will definitely update the architecture to version 2. Correct. So that is what will happen. So if you take the example of Android OS, so every year the OS is upgraded from 9 to 10, 10 to 11. So current it is 11. Okay. So from by next year August or July, so you will get 12. Okay, like this. So the versions will go on upgrading. So whenever a version is upgraded, some new features will be definitely added. Okay, so same thing will happen here also. Whenever the architecture version is increased or a new architecture is brought in, so features and enhancements of the processors will be done. Okay, and you have to remember this. Here, note that architecture version numbers are different from processor names. Okay, so architecture version and processor names are two different concepts. See, as I told, ARM7 TDMI, correct? ARM7 TDMI, I told it as a name. It is the name of the processor, not the architecture version. It doesn't mean that it belongs to architecture version 7. No. Okay, architecture version is completely different from architecture name. See, this is ARM7 TDMI. It is the processor name, not the architecture version. Okay. So that is what is explained here. See, ARM7 TDMI processor, it is the name, is based on, so what is the architecture? It is version 4. So architecture version is V4T. And what is the name of the processor in this architecture? There will be many processors. Okay, in architecture version 4T, there will be many processors. So among them, one of the processor is ARM7 TDMI. So this is the name. Okay, don't get confused with the version. That is architecture version and the name. Both are different. Okay. See, after version 4, then in version 5E, okay, so ARM version 5E. So this is the architecture name. So it was introduced, and in this architecture version, so the device that was introduced was 9E. So this is the name of the device, 9E. Okay. So again here, so 9 to E and -S, 946 E-S. So these are the names of the processors, and these processors come into which version, which architecture version? Architecture version 5E. Okay, this architecture added enhanced digital signal processor instructions for multimedia applications. So this version 5E, the architecture version 5E, it targeted DSP applications, digital signal processing applications, by adding some enhanced instructions which will help for multimedia processing. Okay. Then after that, ARM11 processor family came, which belonged to the architecture V6. So ARM V6, it includes the processors ARM11. Okay, so ARM11 processors are included in architecture version 6. Okay. So this version 6 architecture introduced a new instruction on a single instruction, multiple data, SIMD. Okay, these instructions were included. As I told, whenever a new version of architecture comes, something new will be added. Okay, and it will be targeted for a particular application segment. So single instruction, multiple data were added to this version V6. Okay, so this architecture V6, it included the devices like ARM1136, okay, ARM1156, ARM11. So this belongs to ARM11 family. Okay. Yeah. So then after version 6, after version 7 was introduced. Okay, version 7 or V7 was introduced, and after version 7, that is in version V7 and onwards, after the from the architecture version V7 and onwards, there were 3 profiles. The processors were divided into 3 profiles. So whatever the processors that belong to version 7, architecture version 7 and onwards, they belong to 3 profiles. They are classified into 3 profiles. So which are the profiles? See, I had told. Okay, which are the profiles? See, A profile, which is the application profile, R profile, which is the real-time profile, and M profile is the microcontroller profile. So those profiles we'll discuss here. Okay, see here, A profile, so which is indicated using A. So what is the profile of the processor that we are having in the mobile phones? It is the A profile. So A profile stands for application profile. So usually the mobile phones will have the A profile ARM microprocessors. Okay. So we shall see some features of this A profile. So the A profile, so remember these profiles are included after or from version 7 and onwards. Okay, version 7 and onwards. So A profile is designed for high performance open application platforms. Okay, they are designed for high performance open application platforms. So open application means they should be capable of executing all the tasks. Okay, all the general purpose tasks. So usually general purpose tasks include so they will include multimedia, so they should be capable of playing MP3 and videos. Okay, so and any audio application, and they should be capable of digital signal processing. Okay, and then they should be capable of text processing. Okay, text processing applications like this. So they all come under open application platform, general purpose. Okay, A stands for general purpose, open application. It should support all the applications. Okay, so application processors are designed to handle complex applications such as high-end embedded OS. So you can see the A profile is employed in applications which requires high-end embedded OSs like Symbian, Linux, and Windows embedded. So you can also include Android here. Okay, so Android is also an embedded OS. So whenever a OS is employed, there is embedded OS, which is high-end OS. So you require the A profile processors to handle them. Okay, these processors require highest processing power. So they require highest processing power. Processing power is usually calculated based on the clock frequency it will support and the number of bits of data it can handle simultaneously. That is how processing power is calculated. Okay, so how it is calculated? Number of bits it can simultaneously handle, one thing, and then next one. I told 2 features. One is number of bits it can handle. Next is the clock frequency. Okay, the maximum clock frequency it supports. So that is how the processing power is calculated. And also along with that, it should support virtual memory system. Okay, and also extendable memory support. Also, it should support this processor A profile. Okay, so that is how you get the mobile phones with let's say up to 256 GB of expandable storage, up to 512 GB of expandable storage. That is how they will give. So this A profile processors, they will support the expandable memories. Okay. So then they will include a memory management unit. Okay, so we shall see what is a MMU later. Okay, then optionally enhanced Java support. So Java support and secure programming is also designed in A application. Okay, application profile, A profile. For example, products high-end mobile phones and electronic wallets for financial transactions. So these will usually use the A profile processors, A profile ARM processors. Okay. And you saw the example of our mobile phone also. So the mobile phone also uses the A profile. So next we'll come to the R profile. So as I told, R profile stands for real-time profile. Okay, so this R profile is designed for high-end embedded systems in which real-time performance is needed. Okay, so example is I told this in the previous session also. So anti-lock braking systems. Okay, ABS. Anti-lock braking system. So it is a system. It is a real-time system. Okay, so real-time application means, see, whatever the processing, it should happen with a deadline. So there is a deadline within which that processing should finish. Okay. For example, as soon as you apply brakes, so the brakes should respond to your application, that is to your input, within let's say 10 microseconds. Within 10 microseconds, the brake should be applied. Okay, so there is a deadline here, and that deadline is very critical. So 10 microseconds. So if this deadline is missed, okay, what will happen? The result can be catastrophic. So there may be a loss of life if the brakes don't apply properly. So someone might lose their lives. Okay, that is what it is. It is a time critical application. That is why it is known as real time. Okay, it is a time critical application as well as it is safety critical application. So in such applications, R profile processors are used. So real time high performance processors targeted primarily at higher end real time market. Okay, those applications like high end braking systems and hard drive controllers. So this is also in hard drive controllers also R profile processors are used. Okay, so why? Because here, whatever the hard disk you purchase, it can be 1 TB, 2 TB, 10 TBs, right? And whenever you want to access a particular location of that memory, so because the memory is very large, okay, it should not take too much time to access a particular location. It should respond within again a specified amount of time. Okay, there is a deadline again. Okay, so that is where R profile processors are used. So again, they have high processing power. Along with that, they have high reliability. So this is here in A profile, there was no real reliability concept, but here there is reliability concept. So reliable means, as I told, so whenever you apply brakes, the brake should respond within 10 microseconds. Then only you can say that your brakes, the brakes of your vehicle are reliable. Okay, because every time you apply, they will respond properly. Okay, so that is when you call that particular system as reliable. Otherwise, it is not reliable. Okay, so there are some persons who are not reliable. Okay, so whatever you tell them, whatever you assign the work to them, they will not complete it. They will not bother to complete it. So they are not reliable person. Okay, like that. So next, coming on to the last profile in version 7 and onwards architecture is the M profile. The M profile is designed for microcontroller applications. The M stands for microcontroller applications. It is designed for embedded microcontroller type systems. Okay, processors. So these processors target low cost applications. So they are basically concentrating the low cost applications in which processing efficiency is important and cost, power consumption, and low interrupt latency and ease of use are critical. Okay, so main thing is low cost. The M profile processors are of low cost. Okay, even though they are of low cost, they still have some processing efficiency. Okay, it may not be as same as the A profile and the R profile, but still they are efficient. Okay, but the major contributors here are low cost and low power consumption. Low power consumption is very important. Okay, so you can see the diagram of whatever the architectures we discuss. You can see here. So the various architectures. So it started with architecture version 4 and 4T. So which are the devices in version 4 and 4.3, architecture version 4 and 4T. The devices are ARM7, TDMI 920T, then Intel Strong ARM. So these are the devices in which will come under this. Okay. So next it came up to architecture 5E. So I told this 5E, so they concentrated on what is that? Digital signal processing applications. DSP applications. Okay, this E stands for enhanced, like that. Okay, next version 6 came, so which included the devices like ARM 1136, 1176, 1156. Okay, then Cortex M0 and M1. Okay, so this architecture also included M0 and M0. Next came architecture V7. Okay, so this V7, as I told, from architecture version 7 and onwards, we have three profiles: A profile, R profile, and M profile. So A profile example is given Cortex A8, Cortex A8 processors. R profile Cortex R4 processors, and in M profile it is Cortex M3. So this is what we are studying. This is what we are studying in the syllabus, Cortex M3. Okay, so in version 7 and onwards, there are three profiles. Okay, and you can see the device that we are already using in our mobile phones, they are belonging to version 8 already. It is V8. We are still studying V7. It is already V8 that has already come up. Okay. So evolution of ARM processor architecture. And here architecture development. So what are the new features that were added? So in version 4, okay, some features were there. In version 4T, here something new was introduced known as thumb instructions. We shall see what is thumb later. For timing, remember. So in version 4, only ARM instructions were there. So ARM means ARM instructions were there. So in version 4T, a new instruction set was introduced, thumb instruction. So version 4 supports ARM instruction set as well as thumb instruction set, both. Version 4, okay, 4T. Then in version 5, okay, and version 5E, so some enhanced DSP instructions were added to this ARM mode, okay, ARM instructions, okay. But still version 5 and 5T, they had thumb instructions also. So they had ARM as well as thumb, okay. Similarly, in version 6, again you can see thumb and ARM still were there with some enhanced features like single instruction, multiple data. Okay, and then came version 7. Okay, version 7 and onwards, wherein you can see, so a new technology was introduced. What is that? Thumb 2 technology. Okay, so thumb technology was removed, and instead of thumb 2 was introduced. So basically, ARM7 only supports thumb 2. Okay, it doesn't have ARM instructions and it doesn't have thumb instructions, but it has only thumb 2 instructions, thumb 2 technology. We shall see what is thumb 2 later. Okay, for timing, just remember, ARM version 7 and onwards, they support only thumb 2 technology. Okay. So now we shall see what is thumb 2 technology. See, before going to thumb 2 technology, I'll explain a bit about ARM and let's say thumb. Okay, so then only we can understand thumb 2 properly. So what do you mean by ARM instruction sets? So ARM. So up to version 6, architecture version 6, there were two instruction sets, ARM and thumb, up to version 6 architecture. Okay, so ARM instructions. So they were 32-bit instructions. Okay, ARM instruction set consisted of 32-bit instructions, and thumb instruction set, it consisted of 16-bit instructions. Okay, it consisted of 16-bit instructions. Okay, so not only the difference is only about the number of bits, but also this ARM instruction set, it consisted of complex operations, complex operation instructions, complex operation instructions. Okay, so what do you mean by complex operation instruction? Let's say the 16-bit multiplication, 16-bit multiplication, 32-bit multiplication. Okay, like this. So these come to complex operations because you're multiplying two 16-bit numbers and the result will be 32 bits. And you multiply through two 32-bit numbers and the result will be 64-bit. Okay, these come under complex operations, and such complex operations are only included in ARM instruction set. Okay, they are included only in ARM instruction set. So what about thumb instruction set then? Thumb included simple operation instructions. It included simple operation instructions. Okay, so simple means what? So it can be a 8-bit multiplication. So 8-bit into 8-bit, so result will be 16 bits. So this comes to simple operation. So I'm just giving an example. So such simple operations like 8-bit multiplications or 8-bit additions, okay, then 8-bit subtractions, okay, then simple shift and rotate operations, okay. So they are simple operations. So these simple operations are included in thumb instruction set. So now hope you are getting the differences, why the classification was done up to version 6, why the classification was done. So the instruction sets were classified into two types, ARM instruction set and thumb instruction set. So ARM instruction set, which was a 32-bit instruction set, it had complex operations. It supported complex operations like 16-bit and 32-bit multiplication. Okay, whereas on the other hand, the simple operations were included in thumb instruction set, which was a 16-bit instruction set, which included simple operations. Okay, so then the processors which were there up to version 6, up to architecture version 6, if there was a processor, so let's say the processor was ARM 11. Okay, so this ARM 11 processor, it had two states. So one was a ARM state, okay, and one was a thumb state. So there were two processor states. Okay, one was ARM state and one was thumb state. Why there were two processor states? Because there were two processor instructions sets. Okay, one was ARM instruction set and one was thumb instruction set. So to support these two instruction sets, there were two separate processor modes. Okay, ARM processing mode and thumb mode. Okay, whenever the processor was in ARM mode, okay, it was a high processing mode. Okay, high processing mode. Whenever it was in ARM mode, so it would do complex operations. It would do complex operations. Okay, so and whenever the processor was in thumb mode, okay, whenever the processor was in thumb mode, it would do simple operations. Okay, simple operations. So now, suppose you want to, so suppose you are doing some simple operations like 8-bit additions, okay, and whenever you're doing 8-bit additions, then suppose there was a requirement for a 16-bit multiplication. Okay, so you are in thumb mode. Whenever you are in thumb mode, you are doing some simple operations like 8-bit operations, and suddenly there was a operation that required 16-bit multiplication. Then the processor mode will be changed from thumb mode. The processor will be switching to ARM mode. Okay, from this mode, the processor will switch to ARM mode. So in ARM mode, it will do the 16-bit multiplication, which cannot be done in thumb mode because it's a complex operation. So hence the processor mode would change and it would go to ARM mode, which was a high processing mode, which was a 32-bit mode. So it would do the complex operation, which is a 16-bit multiplication. Once this operation completed, again it will come back to thumb mode. It will come back to thumb mode, okay, to do the simple operations. Okay, hope you are getting. So there was a state switching that will happen. Okay, whenever complex operations come up, the state switching will happen from thumb to ARM mode. So in ARM mode, the complex operations will be handled, and again after handling complex operations, it will come back to thumb mode. Okay, it will come back to thumb mode, which is less processing capable mode. Okay, so this state switching will happen, and this state switching was happening in all the ARM devices up to version 6. Okay, up to architecture version 6. Then the programmers, okay, so what they decided was, see, whenever there was a state switching that is taking place, there is some time consumed here. So there is some time consumed here for switching from thumb to ARM mode, and again after completion of this operation, there is time required for switching from ARM to thumb. Okay, so not only time will be required, okay, there will be some delay here. So this operation will take some time. Okay, it will consume some time and some resources like CPU and memory resources also. Hence, there is a delay. There is a delay in switching. Okay, so it is just like changing your channels in your TV. Okay, so whenever you change the channel from one channel to another channel, so there is some amount of time. Okay, some amount of delay wherein in that time there is no channel that will be displayed, no signal will be there. Okay, whenever you change the channel, during the switching process, there is a slight duration of time wherein nothing will be displayed in your TV. So that duration is a waste of time actually, correct? That is a waste of time. So that is why the programmers, they decided that since there is a time delay in switching between the modes, okay, between the modes, we shall remove that switching. We will not have that switching. Okay, we shall eliminate that switching so that we can save this time in which is used in switching of states. Okay, so hence what they decided was in version 7 and onwards, they decided to include only one mode, which is thumb 2 mode. Okay, so always the processor will be in thumb 2 mode. There is no ARM mode, there is no thumb mode. There is only thumb 2 mode, which is a mixture of both 32-bit and 16-bit operations. Okay, so the processor is capable of handling complex as well as simple instructions, simple operations in only a single mode known as thumb 2 mode. Okay, so that is what the programmers decided. Why? Because to simply remove the delay between the state switching. Okay, and some overhead that will take place because of state switching. As I told, whenever you change the channels, it will take some time for the next channel to be displayed. So that time, in between time that is wasted, that should not happen. Okay, because performance is very critical. So even that much delay that is saved, that much time that will be saved, it will be useful for some other operation, that's some other useful operation. Okay, that is why they came up with thumb 2 technology. So hope you got why thumb 2 was brought in. Okay, yeah. So with this background, we shall go on to thumb 2 technology. So what is thumb 2? Okay. So again, same thing will be explained here. Whatever I told. Okay. So I'll just go through here. So historically, so in ARM7 processor, so it is the name of the processor. 2 different instruction sets are supported. So that those were ARM processor. There is ARM instructions which were 32 bits and thumb instructions which were 16 bits. So it was in ARM7. Okay, that is version 6 and below. Version 6 and below. This ARM7 belongs to which version? You can see here. ARM7 processor. It belongs to version 4 architecture. Okay, so in that architecture, two modes were there, two instruction sets were ARM and thumb. So during program execution, you can see the processor can be dynamically switched between ARM state and thumb state, ARM mode and thumb mode. Okay, to use either one of the instruction sets. Okay, so the thumb instruction set provides only a subset of ARM instruction set, but it can provide higher code density. So we shall see that later how the code density will be improved. Okay, it is useful for products with tight memory requirements. Okay, but in 2003, ARM announced Thumb 2 instruction set, which is a new superset here. Very important. It is a new superset of thumb instruction. Okay, that contains, so as I told, thumb 2 instruction, it consists of instruction set consisted of 16-bit as well as 32-bit instructions. So it is a superset of ARM instruction set. Sorry, it is a superset of thumb instruction set. Thumb 2, remember, thumb 2 is a superset of thumb. Okay, so the thumb 2 technology extended the thumb instruction set architecture into a highly efficient and powerful instruction set that delivers significant benefits in terms of ease of use, code size, and performance. Okay, so since there was no state switching, the time was saved here. Okay, so the extended instruction set in thumb 2 is a superset of previous 16-bit thumb instruction set with additional 16-bit instructions alongside 32-bit instructions. So remember, thumb 2 supports both 16-bit and 32-bit, whereas the previous generation thumb instruction set, it supported only 16-bit instructions. Okay, so now since thumb 2 supports both 16-bit instructions as well as 32-bit instructions, it allows more complex operation to be carried out in thumb state. Okay, so there are no two states now. Only one state will be there, which is thumb state, and there is no state switching at all in version 7 and onwards. Okay, so thus higher efficiency can be achieved by reducing the number of state switchings between ARM and thumb state. So that is what I explained. Okay, so here Cortex M3, so the processor that we are discussing, which belongs to version 7 architecture, it supports only thumb 2. Okay, it supports only thumb 2 instruction set. Okay, instead of ARM instruction sets for some operations, additional ARM processors, it uses thumb 2 instruction set for all operations. Okay, so any operation you want to carry out in Cortex M3 processor, it uses thumb 2 instruction set only for all the operations. Okay. Yes, the same thing, state switching is explained here. Okay. So this is very important diagram so that you can understand what I am talking about. Okay. See, you can see thumb instructions, they are 16-bit. Okay. So this is 16-bit instruction. And they will have only simple operations that can be carried out. Okay. But now thumb 2, so this dotted circle, sorry, the dotted ellipse here, it indicates thumb 2 technology. Okay, so you can see, as I told, so the definition was thumb 2 was a superset of thumb. So this was thumb. So when do you call a set as a superset? So whenever this set, the new set, includes all the components of set 1, as well as it also includes something extra. Okay, then only you call that as a superset. So that is what is thumb 2 doing. So thumb 2 is a superset of thumb. That means thumb 2 includes all the instructions of thumb. That is what it is doing. You can see it is covering all the instructions of thumb. So thumb is already covered. Along with that, you can see some additional coverage here. Can you see this additional coverage? So this is the additional coverage in thumb 2. So what is this additional coverage? So along with all the 16-bit instructions that are supported by thumb 2 also includes some 32-bit instructions. Not all, but some 32-bit instructions, so that the 32-bit and 16-bit instructions can be carried out in a single mode, which is thumb. Getting this? So this larger circle, it is the ARM mode or the ARM instructions. Okay, it is the ARM instructions. So ARM covers both thumb 2 and thumb. That is what is the representation saying here. Okay, but the highlight here is, so thumb 2, it includes all the 16-bit instructions and it includes some of the 32-bit instructions supported by ARM instruction set, which are sufficient to carry out all the operations in a single mode, which is thumb mode. Okay, so all the operations in Cortex M3, they will be carried out in thumb mode only. Okay, and what is the instruction set? It supports thumb 2. So this diagram is very important. Okay, go through this diagram. Yeah, so next we will move on to Cortex M3 applications. So where are these applied? So first is low cost microcontrollers. Okay, in toys. Okay, in 16-bit applications where low cost is required. So since the cost of Cortex M3 is almost same as the any 8-bit processor or controller. So instead of using 8-bit controller, they will directly use ARM because the cost is same. With same cost, it is giving more features. Okay, that is first application. Next is automotive. So various automotive applications. So yesterday I gave you an assignment to list out where the in which are the embedded systems that include ARM, right? Sorry, the embedded systems that are employed in automotive sector. Okay, list out and write a brief about each. So you'll come to know what in the variety of applications where the ARM processors will be employed there. Okay, so example I gave is ABS. So it is an automotive application like that. EBD. So EBD is also an automotive application. EBD means electronic brake force distribution. Okay, and then one more is traction control. So all these are employed. These are embedded systems that are employed in automotive industry, which use ARM processor. Okay. So next, they are also used in data communication applications like Bluetooth and Zigbee. Okay, they are also ARM Cortex M3 processors are used. Then in industrial control, okay, the industrial control means you might have seen in some infotainment channels like National Geographic or the Discovery channels, wherein the entire industry is automated. Wherein, suppose example is your cool drink manufacturing industry, wherein the cool drinks are automatically bottled, they are filled and they are capped. Okay, so no human is involved in there. So everything is taken care by the automation. Okay, so there also Cortex M3 processors are used. And finally, consumer products. Consumer products like the infotainment systems, the entertainment systems that you use in your mobile, in your homes. Okay, the toys that you use like that. So many consumer products are using Cortex M3 processors only. Fine. So these are the applications of Cortex M3 processors. Yeah. So we'll talk about